Can we see me now? Hmm. All the other lives failed. I don't know what's going on with my computer, but it is not cooperating with me today. I'm sorry, guys. I really wanted to do this, so I guess we'll see one way or the other. So, I was thinking we would read some comments that I got on my videos and just go through them and respond to them just as I'm thinking about it. I'll write a lot and I'll respond to a comment and I'll just sit there and I'll write and I'll write and I'll write and then I'll delete half of it because I'll think they're not going to read that. So I figured if I'm going to do it on video, you know, it's easier to listen, right? And then whatever y'all have to say, we'll read it, we'll see. Respond to you guys in the chat. But I've never done a live stream, so I have no clue. Hopefully next time I won't have to start 3 or 4 times and figure it out. I don't know what happened. It's like my whole computer froze up and crashed. But we're getting it back. Then we can get to some of these comments. It's been a long day. I thought I was going to start this at 7 o'clock. It's almost 9 o'clock. So what do y'all think about Jagger being cleared? That's kind of, guess he didn't do much, or was he cleared beforehand, and that's what they're commenting on? How is he cleared if the investigation's not finished? And if the investigation's finished, why don't we know? You know? Hmm. Yeah, my computer is barely coming back, but it's getting there. It's getting there. I said that. Looks like it might not be. 1 second. All right. That's what an iPad is for then. Since this guy doesn't want to work whatsoever. No cooperation. Yeah, the windows being down. Daisy Girl 1217 said, "It's amazing how obvious this really is. Total common sense. Yet common sense can't go out the window when you have a case like this. But I felt that myself, which means law enforcement should see the scenario just as easily as well. Time will only tell if law enforcement comes through and gives us answers. Patiently we wait. They know we are watching, listening, and figuring stuff out, which means they also know that whatever statements they release, they best have good info for us." Yeah, I agree. They should have been able to figure that out. If the windows the part about the windows being down, I mean, it's not like, oh, I know this for a fact. It's just a thought. Like, why would the passenger window be down and then the rear driver, unless you're trying to roll the windows down to sink the car faster? And I was watching today on Check It TV. He was talking about he was 20 foot offshore when he found the laptop and all the stuff. That's what his video says when he goes back and forth. So it's like, was it 50 feet away from shore or was it 20 foot away from shore? Did they drag the car on its roof for 30 foot and then flip it at 20 foot? How did stuff dump out of the car at 20 foot from shore unless that's where the car was? And if the car was only 20 foot from, like, if it was only 20 foot from shore, that kind of gives a different thought process to how the car goes in the water, right? Because think about it, if the car goes in just really fast, you would think that it's going to hit the water hard, slam to a stop, and float up. What is it, like 2 foot of water to float a car? So it would float up and kind of start to tilt over. But would it go out 50 feet? How fast would you have to be going to make it go 50 feet? I mean, I don't know. And then this Kevin Niece says it makes sense. I've noticed it's been in the low 40s there at night for a while, so I highly doubt she had the windows down and they were rolled down by someone else. I don't see them getting enough speed to send the car 50 feet out just pushing it. I really think they had to do it like you described. Oh, yeah, I mean, if they pushed it, they would barely be out. I mean, have y'all ever not backed down to like a gravel boat dock in the truck and get stuck? Maybe not, but I'm from Alabama, so we go fishing. You know, we go out on the river and go camping and then just hanging out at the river. I mean, back in the day, not now, obviously. But let's go to this video. Let's see what we got. You would definitely think that the car would go out around 20 feet unless that car was really moving or coming from higher up. So the drop off isn't that high, is it? It's what, like 3 feet at the most? That little bank before the water? I'm just thinking out loud. Hydrodiction says, here's a perspective. What if Kylie was in the back hatch and these two individuals were planning to roll her car down the hill and into Boca Lake Friday night, so they took it out of park. They're local and would know that Boca is over 100 feet deep. However, they could not carry out their plan because there were people at Boca, so they sat and waited for the people to go to sleep or leave. Then they ended up waiting all night long, and someone was always at the Boca site, so they were freaking out. At this time, they plotted taking the car down the other rough road because it's a rough road and nobody would be down there. But that plan got jacked up when they forgot they had taken the car out of park and forgot about it after sitting there all night. That would explain the very suspicious behavior of the two. I mean, they would have had to have been really messed up to not know that they were sitting there holding the brake, though, right? Because you wouldn't take the car out of park and then cut the car off unless, I don't know. I think it was probably more along the lines of they sat there listening to the radio or trying to figure out what to do or arguing or getting high, whatever. They sat there all night getting high, and then they had the radio on and it killed their battery, and then they kept trying to start it and doing different stuff to start it. And by the time he got there, the car might have been in neutral, but neutral shouldn't stop the car from starting anyway. So he probably just said that because that's what he figured the issue was since the battery was dead on the car. They sat there all night. Who knows what he said in the rest of the interview? It was just, chopped up. So we don't really understand the call, I don't think, to the complete way he described it. We just got the cut version. Until there is a confession, speculations will abound, but the driver, I believe, he is totally credible. No reason to lie or fabricate. I think law enforcement is building a case. There's more than one person involved in this cover up, and I do believe it was an attempt to cover up what really happened. Someone is going to break and ask for a reduced sentence with a confession. Yeah, I mean, that always happens if there's multiple people, right? Like if there's three or four people, especially 18, 19, 20 year olds, maybe 25, um, if they're young people that were at the party, that this really happened this way and it wasn't some crazy, you know, theories that we got out there, and older people, I guess you could say. But since it was probably younger people, if there was more than one person that knows about this, yeah, they'll start breaking and giving in. Nobody's that strong. You'll have one person who'll, you know, be left out. The other two, if it's three, and I think it's three, I think two probably did it and three probably know about it, you know. But I don't want to put who I think it is out there because apparently it's not. You can go from there. Um, the other one just likes a lot of attention, and then the one has stayed the hell away from the cameras. You, what do we have from Kate aside from her Snapchat love affair with Jagger and Snapchat with some other guy? And the Jane Does, I don't know. Like, why can't you just? I guess in this case, if you come out and you just say, "Hey, I have this information on the case," there's like a 75% chance you're going to get accused of being the murderer yourself. So that's probably why people aren't coming out, if we're being honest, since anybody who speaks on the case and doesn't think that it's some false flag from the government, but an actual situation, they're, never mind. I'd rather not get into that because I get some crazy people like getting all upset when you start saying that there's most likely not going to be any involvement of any YouTubers in this case, aside from the ones that found her and the ones that found her stuff. Maybe a YouTuber solves the case because the police don't seem to know what they're doing, but uh, come on now. Like, it's fun to joke around, but these are people, and it's kind of out of hand when you have like Psychobabble going live every day, making videos about how crazy Upchurch is. Upchurch pulling down albums to take the royalties away from somebody who helped him make the albums, maybe, but apparently didn't. But he still got paid for years up until now. I don't know. I don't know anything about Johnny Cashville or nothing like that. I'm an Upchurch fan. That sounds messed up. Like, I don't think that's a good thing, but I don't know the music industry, so. Anyway, you got Upchurch's mom and Johnny Goble and them doing their positivity. That, I don't know, the positivity thing. I watched it the other day with the voice box. That tickled me. Oh man, that was funny. You just had to see it. It did sound crazy and wicked and spiritual and stuff, but mm, I don't know. It sounded more like the reverberation. I can't speak. The reverberation of her voice. I still can't say it. I'm not trying again. Yeah, I have to agree. I think the car was put in the lake. Oh, definitely was put in the lake. Like, I don't see how it if the police searched thoroughly, is what they said, very thoroughly in Prosser, and they were working on the surrounding areas. So they had already cleared Prosser. AWP comes in, searches all this surrounding area. Ugh. I don't know why I can't speak because I'm recording, of course. But they search uh, all the surrounding areas, and then they come to Prosser on day two and find her in 35 minutes, and the police couldn't do it. Like, either she wasn't there or those police are completely incompetent. So I thought that she wasn't there the whole time until I find out that some other YouTuber goes out there and gets the laptop and everything else and calls the cops and tells them, and this is a national story with a crap ton of coverage, and they just, oh, that's not our problem, that's the other department now. Like, no, go pick it up and take it to the other department. What are you talking about? This is your town. That's insane to me. So I think the law enforcement might have been that incompetent just to not find it. It could have been there, and they just not find it. I don't think it was there, but it's a possibility. Anything's a possibility, right? Like we don't know what's really going on the ground. All we get is people who are scared to say who they are telling you it's this way or it's that way. But that's all we get. We got Jagger apparently living with the parents of Kylie, so they must not believe he is. But that's strange to me. I don't. Why? Where's Jagger's parents? Wasn't he with his dad with the party? Why is he living with Kylie's parents now? Like, what's that about? How old is Jagger? I believe that she died by accident and they all panicked and got scared and put her in the water, which makes it murder. Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. Is there a way I can make this live chat stay up here? Maybe. Maybe that's it. Because they're covering it up for one. So yeah, I definitely think they put her in the water. I think it was an overdose from fentanyl. I think it was some pill they were partying. She took a Xanax or a Loratab. They look like Xanax kids to me. I never really cared for Xanaxes when I was younger, but I used to take pain pills when I was younger. And the groups I run around with in that time, some of them are still not okay. But back then, they didn't. You couldn't tell. You could just see the characteristics they had and know. And that's what you get from those kids. I mean, I'm sure those kids come from money, so it's not like they're doing without because of their drug habits. They just the way they look, the way they dress, the way they seem to not care, you know. And maybe that's just their style, but that looks like the kids who take Xanaxes, 3 or 4 Xanax bars at a time and black out and don't know what they did for weeks at a time. Maybe she OD'd with fake Xanaxes because they put fentanyl in Xanaxes now and sell them as Xanaxes, but they're not really Xanaxes. That's the dangerous part. You can't do that. If you go buying drugs on the street nowadays, you got a real good chance of buying fentanyl, and then if you got fentanyl, you got a real good chance of dying. So it's not like, oh, let me go do this and have a good weekend. That might be your last weekend. So think about that. Be aware of that before you go out and try something stupid just in case you don't know better. But I think she OD'd, and I think they freaked out. They got scared. They already had one girl die from a fentanyl overdose a few days before, and it was probably linked to the same people that Kylie overdosed from, and they didn't want another body over fentanyl overdose connected to them, so they got rid of the body to try to make it look like she disappeared. And then the police come in, and I guess just maybe they lied about certain areas of where they were, so the police wouldn't look exactly where it is or something. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. Both those seem strange to me, like they were trying to get certain statements out to strengthen Sammy's narrative. Really? I keep wanting to mess with the computer for it. Oh yeah, the Jane Does? I got you now. They seem strange, yeah. Like they were trying to back up what Sammy had said. Maybe. Or maybe that's what happened. At one point, I was really stuck on, I think, that Sammy and Kylie got into it, but now I'm more, if it was a female, I feel like it was Kate with the whole affair going on and stuff. I feel like if Kate and Jagger were messing around, and Kylie and Jagger used to date, but they haven't lately. They were broke up, so they weren't boyfriend and girlfriend at the time. So if there was like a fight, something to do with the Fight Club and Kylie, I feel like it would have been with Kate when she found out that Kate and Jagger were sleeping together, and she would have been mad, right? That's her ex, and that's her friend. Who wouldn't get mad at that? I don't know. That's I don't think that's what happened, but if it's got to do with the Fight Club, I don't see it being Sammy. Sammy looks like the type that would set up the fight club, not necessarily the type to fight in the fight club. But that's just my opinion. I don't know. Another thing though, like why did they flip her car underwater? That was a comment that I had read, and when the guy said it, that they could have floated the car with airbags. And if they would have floated the car with airbags, they could have towed it up to the shore close enough, to where they could reach it with a crane, reach out, get it, pick it up, set it on a flatbed, and not disturb it whatsoever. The water would have came out, but they should have sealed the windows. They shouldn't have flipped the car over. And then did they pull her from the car before they flipped the car over, or did they flip the car over with her strapped down with the seatbelt? Like maybe she was like that. Because how else do you flip it? You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm glad my computer's back up though. Let's see if we can look stuff up on the computer and look at stuff because this phone is nice and all, but I would have much rather been streaming on OBS or StreamYard. I wish there was a way I could make this stay on my screen. How do we make this stay? So somebody says they took her out and floated her to the beach, took her off to the side when people were watching the car or something, maybe. I hope so, because that's a disturbing thought. Like I had that thought when I was making a video and I was talking about it, and I was like, I don't like if they flipped the car with her in there, how softly are they flipping it? How are they doing? It must not have been too soft because they broke the window and broke the mirror off the car. It seems bad all around. As sloppy as they've been, I mean, I'm all pro law enforcement, but come on, guys, that's a joke, right? Like they didn't really just dump evidence when flipping a crime scene. Hopefully, they inventoried it and got pictures and stuff, but did they? Because they didn't even know that the stuff was gone or come back to get it. Did one department pull the car out and give it off to another department, and then they never communicated farther about the contents of the car or the evidence? Like, how is that not evidence? And how is it not just lost now since it went from the car to Check It TV to the grandparents and then back to the police? That's not going to be like, you can't go back and say this was in the car at that point because there's no way you're ever going to prove that. You could have, I mean, Check It TV could have planted it the whole time. I know that's what people say. I'm not accusing him of that at all. I'm just saying, like, he could have in the law's eyes. They don't know. There's no guaranteed proof that he didn't come out there and drop it and set it there. Only proof they have would be like hearsay, word of mouth from the grandparents and the parents who says, yes, that's her computer. But it just throws more just disruption and problems with the case, right? Like this is the crack. I'm trying not to cuss, and that's hard for me. I'm not like I was in the army for years, and I work construction and maintenance, so cuss a lot. Trying not to cuss on the live stream. Trying to be respectful. I really appreciate the fact though that I got 13 viewers and 13 likes. 14 viewers. Can I get 14 likes though? Can we get that? Anyway, and like it could be an accident, right? Are we just completely sold that it's not an accident, or could it be? Because I feel like it could be. It would just be. It would have a lot of splaining. Has the law had any TV conference on this case? What do they say? Just now following this case, they haven't done anything since they found the car. Really, they said nothing else until November 1st, and then somehow they cleared Jagger. Just I guess because he was getting death threats or whatever, they said he was cleared. So have they finished the investigation? How do they know he's cleared? Just because he has an alibi? Because I mean, how strong is his alibi? If he's got a solid alibi, that's one thing. But if it's just like his dad saying he was with him, is that good enough? I think I think it's definitely somebody. I don't think nobody killed her though. I don't think she was murdered out of like hatefulness. I think it was an accidental overdose or an accident happened somehow. Maybe her and Sammy were in the car. Maybe Sammy was riding home with her and they she was sick in the back of the car, so Sammy was driving and then Sammy wrecked and escaped out the passenger window, but Kylie was passed out in the back of the car and couldn't get out before she breathed in too much water and drowned. Because the idea is that like you should be able to hold your breath that long underwater, right? But even if you can, if you're not expect if you wake up to choking on water already, then you don't have a chance. You can't hold your breath at that point because then you're just gasping for air. So you're immediately drowned. There is no hold your breath. Oh, I almost drowned. You drown instantly. You got water in your mouth, you know? So I feel like it could have been that. Maybe Sammy didn't mean to, but she did. Maybe it was Kate. Maybe it was somebody else. Who knows? The tow truck driver's story kills that though. The only way that I'm going to be satisfied with this tow truck situation, because I believe the guy, right? I believe he's telling the truth about what he says. If they confirm who it was, like they said, and it wasn't anybody to do with them, then it'll make sense. But if he said he had video, he said he had audio, when can we see the video and audio? Will we be able to see that on November 1st? Will we be able to see any of it? When will it become public record? I hope she was dead before she hit the water. I hope she did. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I understand what you mean, but I guess it depends on. Is that better? And did it just go off, or has it been off the whole time? Good. All right, but yeah, Nate, the tow truck guy. Please let me know if it goes out again, and I'll just switch it back to the regular mic. It went off again? Okay, no, good. But I got you. Understand completely. So, Nate, the tow truck guy, I believe him, I trust him, and if his story is true and he saw a blonde girl and a brown haired guy acting strange in a silver CRV, and then somewhere else in that town, there was some topless girl getting chased by somebody in a CRV. What, what are the chances? Can you hear me now? That should be the end of that if you can. tow truck guy's story was irrelevant. I think the cops would normally have informed the public that it was false information being spread because ruling stuff out wouldn't affect the investigation. Okay, so maybe it was irrelevant. I mean, who knows? Who knows whether it really happened or not, if it was on Saturday. Because AWP seemed very, very strong about, like, they believe this guy. And they kept saying the guy was verified. So, how would it not make sense? Like, it all falls into place. I want to know about the video and audio he says he had, because then that'll tell us. And if this guy's a sociopath, good God, how is it muted? So am I muted or unmuted? Like still? Like you can't hear me? Because I got people saying muted, people saying unmuted. I don't know why it keeps going in and out. Yeah, I saw the Facebook thing that he's a private investigator. But, like, you realize anybody can be a private investigator, right? Or anybody can say that they are on Facebook. It's not, you don't have to have a criminal justice degree to be a private investigator. You can literally just go into business for yourself and do it. What was that? Right, yeah. That's why they can't address it. That's why they haven't come out and said, no, we reviewed the footage. It's actually another couple in another area, or this person driving this person's car, or these two people together. Everything's cleared, everything checks out. They should be coming out with updates like that when you have... I get them not responding to every YouTube video that's made, because you're not going to be able to respond to every YouTube video that's made. But AWP, they got over a million subscribers. They found the girl, and then they put out the video about finding the girl. So if they have something in there, that should be at least addressed by the police department, right? Their witness, Nick, like, he should be, yes, he provided credible information to us and we're following up on it, or we followed up on it and it was nothing, or this is continued in their investigation, we can't speak on the matter. Yes, they are. They really are. You know, I've traveled for work a lot, and it sucks being away from your family all the time and being gone and missing out on your kids' years and stuff. And they're doing that. And they're doing that to go give closure to other people. So they really are, like, good. What was that? Yeah, they own it. But, I mean, they would have turned it over. Exactly. If it was like misinformation, the news hates misinformation, right? Like that's all we heard when Trump was president was misinformation, misinformation, misinformation. So why do we just get to have misinformation galore if we're all wrong, with everybody speculating and the police just, oh, well, we're not going to comment on it for a couple months. We're going to let everybody quit worrying about it, and then we're going to come out and say something that wouldn't make sense, but people are done forgot the details by now. We're not going to forget the details. What does it matter if you call him a tow truck guy or a roadside assistance guy? Like, you realize that's the same thing, right? Like, if he came out and he couldn't get your car to run, his same company would send a tow truck to pick it up. So, I mean, I guess the other guy would be the tow truck guy. But he probably drives a tow truck too if he has a license to be able to do it. Otherwise, he just comes out and helps your car. I mean, does it matter? Everybody knows who you're talking about when you say the tow truck guy, and I don't know where it came from. I guess because in AWP's video, he says, yeah, I was in the towing industry for years when he's talking to the Nick guy, and people just took it like he's a tow truck guy. But yeah, I know he's a roadside assistance guy. I know he's just like coming out. And is that a paid position, or is that volunteer stuff, or contractor work, or what is that? Because we have AAA and stuff, but we don't have like a state funded program that's just free where they come out and help you. I really wish I could see these comments. Yeah. Let's see if we can do this. And mute it. So I can at least read all the comments. Yeah, I mean, he's roadside assistance Nick, tow truck Nick, white t-shirt Nick, black ball cap Nick. He's just Nick from the AWP video. You know who we're talking about. If we say Nick the diver or Nick from AWP, then it's the diver. But if we say Nick the tow truck guy or Nick from the AWP video or Nick the witness or whatever, we're talking about the tow truck guy or roadside assistance. I feel like somebody said he was part of like a California highway safety thing that helps stranded motorists or whatever. Like it's a state thing. I don't know. I thought he was from Nevada, so I don't know how he is in a California job, but maybe they let you do that out there. I don't know. Is it AAA or is it what I was talking about? Wondering if when the mother said something like silence is honorable, was that a dog whistle straight from her for everyone to not say a word? Not like a patrol, no, not CHP, but they're like they help stranded motorists. They like jump off batteries or change tires or whatever, and it's like a free. Well, it's not free because they get taxed out the yin yang in California, but it's like a state sponsored thing that's free to the motorist, So you battery dies or something, they can come out and give you a jump start. Something. It's like that. We don't have nothing like that, I don't believe, in Alabama unless you pay for it. Like, we've got plans where you can be on AAA or any other different, like, trying to think. What's the senior citizens thing? AARP has a little roadside assistance program, and I think, like, my health insurance has one. But apparently California has one. She was on the phone likely looking down at the phone, charging it, motor and heater running. They could check was the heater in the on position or not, but they don't have the brains to do it. Right, so like somebody said earlier, it was like 40 degrees that night. Why does she have her passenger window all the way down and then her back window all the way down? If she was trying to like get woke up, so she could drive because she had been drinking, maybe she would roll her window down. But why the passenger? The passenger just seems so convenient to like dump the car. And I made a demonstration video with that, so it could have been that way, it could have not, but it just seems like that's what happened to me. Maybe they reached over and smacked the other window trying to let the other front window down at the same time, but didn't, missed the button and didn't want to wait and dive out the window. I don't know. I just think about that stuff. I think about, like, how did this happen? Let's go backwards. This car is here in the water. How did it get in the water? Somebody put it in the water. Was it Kylie? Did Kylie put the car in the water? Well, she's in the back, and there's something going on with her clothes, because why else would Doug not just say, yeah, she was clothed, rather than I can't comment on that. Like, if she was fully clothed, I'm mad at Doug now. If she was fully clothed in the car, I'm going to be mad at Doug from AWP because that's a simple question that you could answer. Now, he could have said, I don't want to comment on her clothing, but she was clothed. And then, we wouldn't have, it wouldn't have been as much of a thing. But the way he just said nothing, was like, so she wasn't clothed then. Because if she was, you would have just said, yeah, it wouldn't have mattered to the case, right? That's just where my brain went. And if she's not clothed or partially not clothed or her clothes are ripped and torn or something, and then she's in the back hatch of her car underwater with the passenger window down. This car, think about it. The car is driving along, it goes into the water. It's not coming off a big bluff and falling into the water. It's just maybe like a 3-foot ramp. So if they're going like 40, they're going to land maybe like 5 or 10 feet out. And then they might float 10 more feet. But as it's doing that, the water's coming in over the door where it splashed down in and water rushed in to put more weight into the car. And then water's coming in over the door and the car's out there like 20 feet. The water builds up on this side and tips it over and it rolls. And it's sitting out there 20 feet off the shore. Are you going 40, 50 miles an hour down that path? Did y'all see the picture of that road? That road? It was a path. The roadside assistance guy story doesn't add up. Why leave car running the charged battery if it wasn't cranked because it was in neutral? I think he was saying that it wasn't in neutral so that it wouldn't start, and then they just tried it over and over and ran the battery down. By the time that he got there, it wouldn't start because the battery was dead. And the reason that it wouldn't start before when the battery wasn't dead is because it was in neutral, but they ran it down. But the car should start in neutral, so I don't know. Every car starts in neutral. I started my truck in neutral today. I pulled away from the gas pump, and as soon as I pulled away from the gas pump, my truck went dead. And I just popped it in neutral and turned the key. I didn't even push the brake. It's a Chevrolet, but turned the key, and it fired right back up and was fine. So, cars start in neutral. Most cars start in neutral. I mean, I'm a mechanic by trade too. Like, I do industrial maintenance, commercial construction. I'm a crane operator, I'm a pipe welder, and I'm a millwright. And like, I don't do it all the time, obviously, but that's my job. I go through and do some of that all the time. Like one of those long periods of time. For the last 2 years, I've been doing maintenance basically. But I understand motors and mechanics and how things work. I know I've drove a lot of cars. I've had a lot of cars, had company cars. I sold cars at a Chevrolet dealership. Most cars will start in neutral just fine. So the car not starting in neutral, that's weird to me. Like the leave it running, I could see maybe it has to do with if they pulled it down into neutral when the car wasn't on and then it was a sensor or something that didn't start, or who knows? Because with the car was a 2013, so not a lot newer, but new enough to have a lot of sensors and bull crap go on that complicates stuff. And then it's 2022, so this is almost a 10-year-old car. We can't act like the car is supposed to be mechanically perfect every which way too. So maybe it was some reason it wouldn't start neutral. What do y'all think of Sammy bringing attention to Kylie's car keys? That's another thing. AWP didn't answer if the keys were in the ignition either. I don't know what that's about. Long curly hair. Sorry, there's more block bodies inside the vehicle than Kylie. I don't know about that. Like, why would there be more bodies? I mean, I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong because I ain't looked inside the car myself. I can't imagine why. Like, I feel like we would know that. That wouldn't be kept a secret. Why would that be kept a secret? Is it? What's your version of events? Is it the big government cover up, or the false flag altogether, CIA operation, or just is Tony Dodge and Zanime doing it, Ronnie Jones? Like, what do you think it is? I'm tired of not being able to read those comments. That's really bothering me. There's got to be a way to set these and turn these on. No, all messages are visible. Why does it keep going away then? Like it goes away before I can even finish reading the message. Yes, I clicked it back to public after I exposed Olivia and Jane Doe's. Turn on I click private after I make my statement. I have no idea what you're talking about there. Maybe you're talking to somebody else in the comments. So, I mean, I don't know. What about the phone? Are they gonna answer whether they got the phone? Check It TV didn't find the phone, right? Did he ever dive back and look for the rest of the stuff? Or is other people went out there looking for stuff? And even if they don't find her phone, can't they get the phone records? Like, shouldn't the company have the phone records? That should tell them all the texts that they went through, all the phone calls, the lengths of time, the times of the calls. Probably pictures too with the iCloud. They should be able to access her iCloud if she had iPhone. And that's what Sammy said it was. Bullhorn Betty. Yeah, I watched a couple of her videos. I like her. I've always felt this was a Mean Girl situation. I don't think this was an accident. I think Sammy drugged her to beat her in a fight at their Fight Club party, which is a thing amongst teens now. Alright, so the Fight Club stuff. When I was young, I lived in a trailer park. And there was like 11 or 12 of us kids right around the same age. And that's right when Fight Club came out. We all watched it. And we started our own little fight club for a little while. We were like 12, you know. But we were fighting. And it was fun. We'd put on boxing gloves. When we had boxing gloves, we'd put on boxing gloves. Other times we would just smack box. But we would put on boxing gloves when we had gloves, and we would fight each other. And it was fun. We would do stupid stuff. Kids are stupid. They do stupid stuff. We would take and hold each other's hands and wrap a belt around their hands and then whip each other with the belt to see who give up first. Like, teenage boys are really dumb, you know? We can't help it. We're predisposed to stupidity. It's genetics, you know? As far as girls in the Fight Club, though, do girls ever fight in the Fight Club? Did they, like, verify that actual teenage girls get in there and fight each other? And did they ever say whether it was just the kids doing it out there with a pair of boxing gloves, or if it was like somebody trying to be a promoter putting it on? Did like any of that ever come out? All I know is that teens still idolize those cult classic movies. I'm in my early 20s, so I think I'm pretty sure they would do something like that. And yes, girls fight hard. Oh, I know they will. I know they will. I'm just saying, do they in like a fight club? Like, we didn't never have girls do that with us, you know? But maybe they do now. Who knows? The world's a whole different place. I'm just saying, like, the Fight Club, people acted like that was so unusual. And I mean, it's probably more popular right now than ever. You got Jake Paul and all the YouTube boxing stuff, and all the other YouTubers wanting to be boxers and starting to box. And then UFC's like one of the biggest sports in the world now. And everybody loves it. I love UFC. I love the YouTube boxing stuff. I like watching them like hit each other. They don't know how to hit each other. They don't know how to protect themselves either. It's still a good fight. So, I mean, the fighting, I understand. I don't think it's safe. I don't think they should be doing it. I think any fighting should be done like under a well-regulated thing. But like, under the unified rules of boxing or MMA or whatever it is that you're doing with the proper medical teams and all that there, I'm all for it then. But it's obvious that kids are going to copy and do stuff like that because we did. You know, we can't expect more from today's youth than what we did if you paid attention to today's youth. And they say Jagger lives with Kylie's parents now. Yeah, I was hearing that today that he lives with them. I guess they don't suspect him, or the dad's reaction kind of bothered it. Like it struck me because yeah, okay, so the mom and the dad's divorced. Everybody knows that, right? Like the mom and the dad are not a couple. They're divorced. There's a stepdad. So the dad was and the grandpa was with SF Investigates or whatever when they found her car, and the mom was at a restaurant and didn't get notified. The dad didn't call the mom apparently, and none of the other family did. Maybe that was the dad's side of the family, and the mom's side of the family didn't get the contact until they were, found out from a waitress or whatever was said. Maybe there's problems there between the dad and the mom, and maybe there was issues on what was going on with Kylie. You know, the dad wanted her to be this, this, and this, and the mom was like, "Oh, I'll let her do this, this, and this," and because that's how the dad kind of acted. He acted like he expected something bad to happen and expected it to be foul play, and not in a bad way, just like foul play is a bad way, but him, not putting him in a bad light. Like, it's just like he was like, almost like he had the I knew it look on his face. Like, I knew this was going to happen, or this or that. And I'd like to know what all he said, because AWP has said that they cut out they couldn't use most of what he had going on, or it would blow some stuff open. So, I don't want to speculate on any of that publicly. I have my own ideas of how it could be and what it would go right along with my theory, but I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to put that on nobody or nothing. Like, I wouldn't want that on me. I wouldn't want nobody to even speculate that because that's ridiculous. I'm sorry. I just get carried away thinking sometimes. I don't want to put that out there. If that ends up being the case, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, good. But if you do, if it ends up being like that, then, that's very sad. Did you feel she approached it like a wrestler or martial artist? I don't know, but she was intense. Definitely wouldn't want to get into a fight with her. Yeah, I mean, maybe the girls do fight though. Maybe they get into it and throw hands just like everybody else. I don't know. Let's see if we can find some comments that I missed down through here. Well, let's just address this part here because this just bothers me. The whole clothes thing. Why is AWP saying that? I know I said this a while ago, but maybe there's different people in here that didn't hear it. Why is AWP not able to answer whether she had clothes on or not? They can answer that she was in the back hatch of the car. They could put that on video. They could show the car underwater. They could do all the other things, right? Because none of that stuff needed to be private information for the investigation. So why couldn't they answer whether she had clothes on or not? If the answer to that question is yes, then it has nothing to do to interrupt their investigation, just like the rest of the stuff, and they would have answered it. If the answer to that question is no, though, then if they come out and say, no, she didn't have clothes on, somehow that can interfere with the investigation, you would think that she didn't have the clothes on then, right? Because they don't want to interfere with the investigation and they couldn't comment on it. Girls are very, very catty. Guys are more aggressive, but they don't normally go for the junk where girls hold grudges and emotions inside it. And we saw that anger in physical fights. I mean, maybe. My fiance can't fight her way out of a paper sack, so. She ain't no fighter at all. Most of the women I know are not really that big of fighters, but I mean, I have known some girls who were fighters, and eh, I guess you get some of each. Some girls that like to fight, some guys that like to fight. But high school girls, are they fighting like that? Are they coming in with bloody nose and black eyes for fun? That's what I'm asking. I know a girl will fight. I know girls get in the drama and get all beefed up and poke their chest out and get mad just like guys do. But like, do they let it go that far where they're actually throwing hands all the time? Like as much as guys? I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, if they're like athletic girls, maybe they like fighting. Maybe it's one of their extracurriculars. Maybe they do jujitsu and boxing classes and all that. Maybe they're into it. And I bet if they do that, I bet it was probably a certain club or a certain gym that brought out the lights and the generators and all the stuff to put on these little backyard fight things and then, you know, sell tickets or whatever. Maybe that's what it was. 300 or 400 people? If it was really 300 or 400 people, people of all ages just out there in the woods partying randomly for a senior going away day? 300 or 400 people? And oh, there's so much, man. Like all the old stuff, like the Ronnie Jones stuff and him calling in and his problems. That guy. Like I understand where Ryan was coming from with the Ronnie Jones stuff at first about, hey, don't cover for this guy. We need to make sure this guy has told the police that his story and that we can figure out who his cousins are that supposedly kept up with what Kylie was doing all night long. Or is this guy making his story up or what? Like I understood where he was coming from with that. The rest of the stuff he's done went off on tangent and came back some. I mean, he acknowledged that Kylie is real and that it was her in the car and stuff, and he just thinks that these other people are involved. It's not, and I think that these other people are involved and it's not. So I can't really say nothing that his theory is any crazier than mine. Honestly, at this point, aside from like, what are the chances that YouTubers did it? What are the chances that her friends did it? You know. I wish this would update better. Let's see. I think Zanime planted those items in the vehicle and flipped it before doing so. I think they flipped the vehicle to better conceal it, and I believe Check It TV, Tony Dodge, SF Investigates are all involved. So you believe in the murderous true crime circle? I mean, maybe. Here's what I think about Zanime. I think Zanime is a fan of Ikmel's channel. I think she's been a fan of his channel for a while. I think she lives in that area and was planning a trip to go somewhere out there to go kayaking and mountain walking and stuff. And when she got out close to that area, this case went out. Ikmel probably reported it or something. She sees it and is like, I'm going here so I can be there and get video footage and send back to Ikmail so that I can be a mod or I can be on his good side, whatever, because she was like a fan, right? I think she was a fan in that way of being a fan. And I think she went out, she was trying to just get video and this and that. to send back so she could report for him from the ground and maybe get on his channel. And then the whole Ronnie Jones thing happened, and she wanted to defend the Ickmail because she's a fan of his channel. So that's when she ended up on Tony Dodge's panel with Ryan Upchurch, and that she's defending somebody that she doesn't know. And I think she was only defending him because she was like fangirling over the Ickmail guy, and she didn't want the narrative to be that Ickmail and Ronnie Jones, all the stuff that Upchurch was saying. So she was trying to like kill that by vouching for the guy that she didn't know. And then that's what started her whole little demise into why she is suspected of everything, you know? I don't really trust anime, like her intentions for stuff, but I don't think she like did any of that, right? I don't think she did any of that. Or do you? I don't want to see her naked torso. Like, I don't want to unblur none of that. Like, I don't want to see it. That's not for me. I'm not. What about the private investigator in person, Steve? That's SF Investigates. I don't really know a lot about him. I mean, like, I saw the stuff that he came and said on like Zav Girls podcast and all the stuff that Upchurch said about him and stuff, and a lot of people comment and say he deleted this or he hid this or he took down all his social media. But I haven't followed him like that. I don't really think that I don't think he's that reliable of a source for anything. I think he has his own narrative that he wants to push. And I don't know what that is or why. Maybe he's just a good guy, you know, and he's just doing his best and not very good at it. And maybe he's fugazi, you know? I don't know. I don't know what to think about his self investigates. I know he contradicts himself when he speaks, though. Or like he's walked back stuff he said and said that he didn't say stuff that he did say. The bodysuit they found has wider straps, so it wouldn't hurt. Good for you, crazy. I mean, like I wouldn't watch that. Couple reasons, you know. Number one, I don't want to see something like that because it's a dead child, and number two, because of that, you know, one aspect of it. Like I'm not Tony Dodge, you know. I wouldn't. I've seen videos of people who got lost in the water, right? In the ocean, divers come down, come back up way away from their boat, and they're stuck out there for days until they swim to an island or finally get rescued. And when they pull their gloves off, their hands are like falling apart from the water. Now I know that's not salt water, but you go take a bath or go get in a swimming pool, your fingers are gonna wrinkle up. Imagine being in there for 2 weeks. Like the way your skin's gonna be is, I don't even know how you would handle somebody's body from that, now that I'm thinking about it. Say what? I ain't arguing with you or entertaining what you haven't seen or what you think. Obviously nobody pays you to think. Actually, that's what my job is, bro. I get paid to think from multiple different places. But I mean, I'm not arguing with you either. Hell, you know, the Pope could have did it. I don't know. I'm just waiting to find out. I've got my theories. I think that I'm going to be pretty close to what happened. And I mean, if I had to choose between accident or cover up, Like, as far as like she OD'd and the friends got scared and covered it up, I'm going with the cover up over the accident. I could see an accident happening if very specific details were explained thoroughly. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't think they're going to be able to explain those details. Maybe they're not even able to close the case. Maybe it's just becomes a cold case and they don't find the suspects. That would be the worst case scenario, right? Like, yes, it was a murder or cover up. No, we don't know who did it, and we're going to stop investigating it. Because at some point they would do that, right? Yeah, good. What sensational claim? You said you seen her naked torso, right? What do you think I'm saying? You think I'm saying that she had clothes on? Because I'm saying I don't think she has clothes. This is on Sad Girls podcast. I have no idea what you're even talking about. I don't know what the question of her, why they brought that up. The point is when they brought that up and they asked Doug Bishop, was she naked? He said he can't answer that. Just off of that makes me feel like, yes, she was naked. Because if she wasn't naked, why wouldn't he be able to answer it? That's my whole point there. I don't know whether she was or whether she wasn't. But if you saw her naked torso on YouTube channels, then you know she was naked, then you know, hey, we agree. I don't know what you're arguing with me about, other than just to be, argumentative. I don't care. I mean, it's entertaining, but, whatever. It might have something to do with the police investigation. Yeah, I mean, that's why they can't give us information, like, they can't tell us what happened exactly. But usually during an investigation, unless it's a criminal investigation where they have suspects and they're not wanting to tip them off, then they give updates, especially if they decide it's an accident or, a homicide. They usually at least let you know that much. And these cops have not. And it's like, why? Why have we not? Like, exactly. Accident, they panic, try to cover it up. That's exactly what I think. I think it was fentanyl too. I mean, y'all, if you're in here, I'm assuming you probably saw the video where I had the little news articles and the one pill can kill stuff on there. That's Placer County. So, is it Placer or Placer? Maybe, I feel like it was Placer. It's been a second since I heard it. But that's them. They busted a guy on a random traffic stop a few days after they had found Kylie with 50,000 pills of fentanyl in his car. Just randomly. It's not like somebody tipped them off or got pulled in. What if it's... Now I'm thinking, right? What if it's like they're not releasing details of this because they know who did it and they have who did it and they're using them to bust drug dealers first and then going to end up giving them a lighter sentence? That's possible, right? That would kind of make sense for why they won't release any information, because anything they come out and say, then that jeopardizes their chances of their rap not being exposed. The coroner's report should be done by now, though. Like, they've had her for a long time. They can rule in or out drowning by the amount of water in her lungs, right? Seems that way. Seems like they should be able to rule out drowning by if she has water in her lungs or not. So if she has water in her lungs, then her cause of death was drowning. and then they're just waiting on a toxicology report to see why she ran into the water. But if she doesn't have water in her lungs, then she wasn't breathing when she went into the water. She's not gonna like, just because she's underwater doesn't mean water is gonna get into her lungs. Like you would have to breathe for the water to go in and go to your lungs. Otherwise, it's just going down your throat, going down into your stomach, and you know. So water in her lungs, she drowned it. No water in her lungs, she was killed before. Either way, though, her cause of death, whether she drowned it or she didn't drown, doesn't tell us how she got in the water. It just tells us how she died. And if she didn't drown, what other way is there other than like physically, you know, like beaten physically, or overdose, or shot, or stabbed? You know, it's, you would think it would be, if it was that, you'd think we would know that. So seems more like she either drowned or overdosed or was overdosed. I don't understand why some people have like the narrative that just because she was a smart girl means that she didn't do anything to get in trouble or anything like that. Like, I was a smart kid when I was in high school, straight A's, advanced diploma, dual enrollment, and I was partying all the time. All the time. All their valedictorian used to smoke weed like it was going out of style. Drink liquor, just straight, no chasers. At like 17, 18. Yep, like smart kids party too. All kids party. All kids have the thing. Smart kids usually make better choices while they're partying, so they don't make as many mistakes as the others. But it could happen to anybody, and anybody could let loose for a night or two. Doesn't necessarily mean you're a terrible person. Just if you go party at 16, 17 years old, that's normal. That's going to have, it's social, you know? I tried to stream on StreamYard. We're going to have to figure that out because I want to be able to bring people up on the panel and talk to them. But the only way I could get it to work right now was on the phone straight through YouTube. And that's very aggravating. I guess I could do it on the phone through StreamYard. I don't know if I'd be able to bring people up there though. Would I? Is there anybody in here that knows about live streaming, that does live stream or uses StreamYard? Because I know nothing about this. Like, I'm just figuring out how to do videos. I've done videos here and there with knives and stuff, but I just like to talk about stuff. I like to, if I'm interested in something and I'm listening to something, I have opinions, I just want to be able to put them out there. I don't think I'm special. I don't think I'm right all the time. These are just my thoughts, you know, what I'm thinking about, how I see it, why I think it happened, or, you know, just random stuff. Whatever goes through my mind comes out. Pretty ADHD too, so I'm sure you've noticed. I'm sure during this stream, there's been a few times, if not every time, that I start talking about one thing and finish talking about something else and never wrapped up the first thing. I just ramble sometimes. Let's see. Right. I mean, I could see, I could see her not making it out the window of the car. If when the car goes in, she's asleep in the back hatch and somebody else is driving, and she like wakes up to water, breathing in water, and can't catch her breath to get out in time because while she's choking and going down. But I can't see if she's driving the car how she can't go out the passenger window but goes to the back. Does she drown right there in the front and then is that what people are saying? Because if the car is upside down, then the floorboard is at the top, so she's hitting the bottom of the seat. She's not just going straight through the hole if she's floated. And I don't want to I feel like when I start talking about that, it feels graphic, even though I'm not showing anything, right? But the seat there is going to stop her from just floating through. She would have to have some reason would have to dip down to go under the seat, unless somehow she was already at the hatch or ran to the hatch. But then she wouldn't be found in a position that was across the back seats or something, as if she were trying to get out of the car rather than just in the hatchback. Yeah, exactly, that's what I mean. Like, I can't place her in the back, you know? How does she accidentally get in there? And then she's not gripping onto the back seat or grasping at something to get out when she takes her last breath. Or we expected her that she just gave up, you know? I'm sorry, I keep getting distracted. I look over at this iPad to look at the chat, and then I see me moving a few seconds ago, and it's, whew. It is very tiny. There's a CRV at work. I don't know what year it is. It looks pretty beat, you know? Probably like a 2010 or 2011 model. It looks a lot like hers. Just, it's so tiny in person. Like that back hatch is the back window for the back hatch. You probably have like 14, 15 inches between the back door and the back glass there for that. Like the back of the back door and the back glass for the hatch. It's not a very big thing at all. And the wheels, they're like 13s, 14s. I mean, no chance those are 15-inch wheels. You know, they've got to be 13s or 14s on the one at work at least, because it is a tiny little car. And if you were driving it down that dirt path, you're gonna send off into the woods somewhere, because it's not gonna handle. It's not gonna have the shocks and stuff. Right, it's barely a hatch. Like I've seen some videos of people showing that they could climb through the back seats or whatever. So yeah, a fully grown person can fit between the tops of the back seats. But like I said, it would be upside down, and then they all had the hatch open, right? So they all had the hatch open, and they were able to climb through and go out. But if that hatch was closed, it would be a lot tighter getting down on the other side. And in doing that in the water, there's no way. If she was in the back hatch, not fully dressed, at least, not fully dressed, 20 feet out, the police looked for what was it, like 1,900 man hours, 19,000 man hours, whatever it was, for a very long time. Could not find her 50 feet from where her phone pinged the last time. But they thoroughly searched Prosser. And it's just so much little things. And then Sammy, I don't know what to think about Sammy. Help me out with Sammy, guys. Because at first, I thought she's very suspicious. Let me run and grab another Red Bull. My mouth is dry. Right back. It is way too late for me to be drinking Red Bulls. And I'm gonna have to end this stream or get a phone charger really soon because this phone is not gonna stay up too much longer. And yeah, like I said, Sammy definitely gives me Mean Girl vibes, but that's what she gets. She feels like the leader of the Mean Girls. She feels like the one that tells the other girls, "Hey, go do this," or "Oh, she needs to go away," or "I don't want you around her anymore. If you're going to be around her, don't be around me." That feels like Sammy. I don't think that she would. I don't think she would run out into the public spotlight if she actually had a hand in it. Maybe she knows who had a hand in it and is running out to throw the direction somewhere else, but you gotta be bold. You gotta be Chris Watts bold to go throw yourself into the spotlight about a crime you committed, you know? So I don't think Sammy had anything to do with it. I think with the interviews, when they did the early interviews, Magdalene, she kind of tripped me out because the way she would laugh at like weird times when they were recording. What is that? You know, was she just high? Or was she just nervous? That's her like best friend, right? And is that like I've seen that a lot. Is Sammy's parents lawyers? Are they? Like actually? And what's the deal with the private investigation firm that she's somehow the point of contact person for? Cindy B. Smith in Truckee with a daughter named Samantha. Like, is she a lawyer or is she a private investigator or what? Yeah, that's for sure. How do you remember so much about the night? But oh, I drank everything she drank and she was so tore up. She was so drunk. There was no way she could drive. I drank everything she drank. I remember I did this and then she called me at 12:36 and I was in the car with this person and I could hear this and she was saying this and I just assumed that somebody was giving her a ride home or she was gonna stay there. Did she say she was going to stay there? Because to me, that would be the only accident version, is if she actually told Sammy, "I'm sleeping here," and then she pulled off, went down that path, had planned to pull up to the creek, park, and sleep in her car for the night, goes in the back hatch, goes to sleep, and then either another car comes flying through and hits her, accidentally knocks her in the water, cleans up the ground and situation right there and hauls ass and leaves, or maybe something malfunctioned in her car, maybe is what they say, and it rolled into there. But she didn't make a wrong turn on that road. She didn't get there. There's way too much stuff. And before we get off here, Debbie Collier. Have any of y'all heard about this Debbie Collier story? Because that one bothers me. That one bothers me so bad. Like it's really why I'm having like a hard focus right now is because I listened to so much about that today that that's heavy stuff. Sammy's father runs Sierra Tahoe Investigations. Their mother is a lawyer. Sammy is bolder than we think. If she was not. Okay, so if Sammy's father is that true though? Like, or is that verified? Is that like for sure? Because I don't know. And yeah, I would agree that if her parents are both lawyers in the town, then definitely that makes it that much worse because that happens. That happens. I don't want to get into that, but that definitely happens where cops look out for other cops' kids, or lawyers and cops are buddies because the cop has to come in and do court with that lawyer so many times a week. They know each other, they go to lunch together, they get all buddy buddy, so like lawyers can get certain clients off by the cop taking something off the ticket and stuff. That's 100% fact that happens. I don't know if they really are lawyers and if they really have a private investigation firm. It's completely plausible. It makes sense because ain't Truckee like a super rich community? And when I think lawyer, I mean, I know I could be wrong and you could be like a starting out struggling lawyer and stuff, so I'm not trying to categorize all that, but I think lawyer, I think pretty financially well off. So if her parents are lawyers and they live in Truckee, all that adds up, makes sense. And then it would explain why they let her be in charge of the team to team meetings and why she's got that attitude about her of like, you know what I mean? Like center focus. I wanna control this. I wanna have this. Because right now, most people look at that like she just wants to be in charge so she can control the narrative. But I think it's more along the lines of like, that's just the type of person she is. She wants to, she's probably going to be an Ivy School girl, right? Like, is she really smart like Kylie was, or not so much? Does anybody know any of that stuff? Where is she planning to go to college? Did she get accepted? Was she a good student? All that, because it showed her going to Jagger's graduation, right? And then Kylie was graduating early. It was a senior party, so Sammy was graduating. So, what kind of student was Sammy? Is she the valedictorian of her class? Because that's what it seems like, that she would be the one to step up and do that. She would go out of her way. Because when I was a teenager, we had a classmate have a car wreck and pass away. And we had, team talks about that, which it wasn't a investigation. It was just talking about our feelings and stuff with our classmate that was gone now. And yeah, his name was Sunshine. He was from California. He was a really good dude, really wholesome person. Um, but we had the team to team meetings there, and it was the valedictorians of the class, the upper echelon of the class, in a sense. The upper echelons of the class, the goody two shoes, teacher pets, they were the ones who were helping to organize, but there was an adult in charge. This is like a criminal investigation, and was there an adult in charge of the team meetings, or was it just the teens putting it on? I would love to know, like, how all that stuff went. And what happened to, there was people here from everywhere, and there was a bunch of older people who bought a bunch of drugs that we'd never seen before. All that stuff just gets forgotten now that it's convenient to be an accident, right? I don't know. I got stuck on comments, but before I get off here, Debbie Collier, look that up. This is a mother and a wife. She went missing, sent her daughter a Venmo for $2,385, and she had a message attached to the Venmo that said, "They're not going to let me go. The key to the house is in the blue flower pot next to the door." And then like another paragraph of talk without giving any explanation for what she's talking about. Like, what do you mean? Who's not going to let her go? What's happening? She seemed calm and more worried about whether they could get in the house and making sure they had money than explaining what's happening and trying to save herself. It doesn't make sense. And I've got some theories about that too, but I want to look into it a little bit more because it's horrible. When they found her, she was naked, gripping a small tree, burnt with a red tote bag beside her and a half burnt tarp. So seemingly they might have rolled her up in the tarp and burned her, and she probably tried to get out of it, grabbing onto the tree to get loose to try to get the tarp off of her after they set her on fire until she died. So that's some heavy stuff. Uh, look into that. I'm gonna be looking into that. I'm gonna do a video on that when more details come out about that, so that I can get kind of an understanding of the timeline of events of what they think happened. But she's from Athens, Georgia, and that's right by me. Like, I'm in Alabama, but Athens, Georgia is not very far. The world's a crazy place, and like that case, that case made me realize people get on here when we have our theories, and it's like people wouldn't do this, or people wouldn't do that. They burnt this woman, wrapped her up in a tarp, and burnt her. People will do anything, and she was naked. So let's not even talk about what else they probably did. And torture and just evil, shit like that is evil. I'm sorry I cuss, but that's evil. Like, when you think about that, if that happened to somebody that I cared about, and it could, that's the scary part. It could happen to somebody you care about, because there's people like that everywhere. There's people that don't care and they'll do whatever. So don't put things past people and say, oh, well, these kids wouldn't do that, or these parents wouldn't do that, or these cops wouldn't do that. People do crazy shit. If we had more evidence and information on this case, there wouldn't be so much wild speculation. And then speculation builds off the speculation and off the speculation to a certain point where some people don't even know what was actually true and what they just heard so many times that now they don't know if it's true or not. Like the Sammy's parents being lawyers part, or that she was drunk at the party. We know people said it, but is it true? And the SF investigates guy, and whether he's involved with the Check It TV guy, why the Check It TV guy called him, and then like little bits and pieces get scattered, and then this person believes that to be a fact, and they report it as a fact, and somebody hears this, and then they hear somebody else reporting another nugget of information that might or might not be a fact, but being reported as a fact, and then it all gets jumbled together, and it's crazy theories. But these crazy theories could end up being true, because people do sick, twisted stuff. Anyway, I'm tired. I'm about to get off here. I really want to figure out the StreamYard and how to work that, or OBS, whichever one's better. I'd like to set it up where you guys can come on and have a conversation with me so that I can get into this. This is my first live stream ever. If you know she is, I believe you. I'm not denying it whatsoever. I'm just saying I haven't like researched who she is. I don't even know her name. Is it Cindy Smith? I mean, I've seen that on Captain Kurt's videos, but I don't know if that was accurate or if that was rabbit hole stuff, So I assume Cindy B. Smith could be it. Yeah, you can send me the website. You can. Pretty sure my email is on the channel, and if you just want to comment on something, link it, I'll get a notification. But I'm about to get off of here and go lay down, because it's been a long day. Hopefully tomorrow I can figure out StreamYard and get on and just do this a lot better. Do this the way I want it to. I had everything set up in OBS, or first I had it set up in StreamYard. I didn't like it, so I went, opened up OBS, set everything up, went live, and it just lagged and froze and lagged and froze. Uh, Hopefully, I can get one of those to work right so that I can actually use my microphones and my camera and not have to be on my phone with this. But have a good night, guys. I appreciate y'all coming through. I appreciate the likes, the views, the super chat. That was awesome. Random, unexpected, but I really do appreciate that. I don't need those. You don't have to send those, but that puts a smile on my face no matter what it is, right? And that's cool. From Taiwan. Good night. Have a good one. See y'all guys tomorrow.